Hello, good evening and welcome to my vacuum cleaner chums. Was a quote Sam Echo 1987. Hello my vacuum cleaner chums, and how are you today? And indeed, we're going to be doing another video today, and this one's going to be a 3-month review. And what we're going to be doing on the 3-month review today is the Miele Blizzard CX1. And I bought this machine from Curry's I think it was mid-November last year, so it's actually well overdue for the 3-month review. I should have done it last month really, but last month I was using more of the Dyson handhelds, so I could do the 3-month review on the V6 Absolute. But I have been getting a fair bit more use of this in beforehand. It's just that I never really got round to doing the 3-month review of it. Now, this machine is Miele's first bagless machine, and it's been available for over a year now. It's available in Argos and Curry's, and it's available in various different models in the range, with various different brush heads on and various different features. This one was a, what do they call it now, it was a model that had been on the shop floor, that it was an X-display model, that's what I'm looking for, and Curry's was selling this off in there. I think it was the Black Friday sales, so that would have been around about November time, wouldn't it? It was around about then that I bought this, and they'd marked it down very, very considerably, and I got even more discount off it, so I think I ended up paying about £160 for this. The list price of these in Curry's at the moment is £400. So they're not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. Being a Miele, you're always going to pay more, and because it's a bagless machine, it's the most up-to-date version that they offer. We've got the machine over there, which is the S8 or the C3 Complete, which is rather an older design now. They came out in 2012, I do believe. So that design now is actually 6 years old, believe it or not. I don't remember when they first came out. But this one was a brand new design last year, so it's bang up to date. So there haven't been that many reviews on Curry's or Argos of these machines, and that has it's quite surprised me so far that when I was looking at the reviews today, I looked through Curry's, and I think they've got 42 reviews on is it Review, the review site that people write reviews for these. The problem is, because I usually go to the shop and buy it, I never get the chance to write reviews on them. What they normally do is, when you buy them online, you'll give them your email address, and then a few months later they ask you to do a review for them. But I've never been offered the opportunity to do any of that, because I don't buy these things online. I always go to the shop and buy them. I prefer to go and buy my appliances direct from the shop, rather than having the internet deliver it to me, because A, I might not be in when it comes. It could be damaged by the couriers, who throw things around in the back of the vans and sling things over people's garden gates, and you name it, they've been guilty of it. But I do find internet shopping a lot more hassle, to be honest, than just getting in my car, go to Curry's, pick it up and bring it back. That's so much easier. I really do hope that more and more shops don't keep going out of business, because I don't like internet shopping. I find it a lot more inconvenient, because they'll always deliver when you're out. They'll take it away again, then you've got to rebook the delivery again, and then when it comes again, you won't be in. Or, you know, in the old days you used to go to the post office, didn't you? They leave a card and you go and pick it up. But nowadays it's always couriers that come, like Hermes, or it'll be Yodel or whatever have you, and they won't let you go and pick it up from their depot. So it's a lot of bother, internet shopping. So anyway, the word is I digress there, but this was bought from Curry's on the special offer, discount, even further discounted price, because it was damaged. Okay, so those who watched the original unboxing of this would have seen me talk about the damage on it, so that will be overlooked on this review, as that was there when I bought the machine. Okay, so, you know, because the bottom of the bin doesn't close properly and I have to use tape on there to get the bin to stay closed, that isn't a fault of the machine. That is a fault of somebody damaging it when it was on the shop floor display. And it's something that I got a big discount for. But there have been other things, or one other main problem that has cropped up with this since I've had it. And that I'm going to be discussing a little bit later. But what we're going to do, first of all, is to have a look at the machine, as I normally would on a review, seeing its details again. Now that I'm fully familiar with this machine, I know all its ins and outs now, and the different details. So what we're going to get then, it's a cylinder obviously. Miele do prefer to sell cylinder cleaners as opposed to uprights. They do one upright, but they've been doing it now for nearly 10 years, the same model, and that's the U1. But for the main, Miele do tend to supply cylinder cleaners. Now, this cylinder cleaner has got top of the range set up with the handle here, which is called the Comfort grip handle. Other models in the range, well actually no, that's got the Comfort grip handle as well, but other models in the range would have just a standard curved handle without this separate handle grip on here. Because this is the top of the range model, it does have the remote controls on the handle that you can turn the machine on and off and alter the suction power. I'll get closer up on this shortly. I'm just doing this standing up for now because I need to discuss the length of the hose. The hose is, I measured this now with a measuring tape, and it's 1.8 metres long. The hose on that machine is slightly longer, so this is just a small bit shorter than a standard Miele hose. I've put the, as I say, I put the measuring tape from here to the top bit here, and it did measure just under 1.8 metres. So when I've been using it, I do find it's okay to use. It isn't particularly champing at your, biting at your heels behind you, because you do get shorter hoses. I mean, the Dyson over there, the big ball, that's only got a 1.5 metre hose, so that is much shorter than this. And I did point out when I did a review of that I found that the hose was too short on that, and it is continually biting at your heels as you're pulling it along behind. So yes, that's a reasonable length hose on there. It's all it all comes apart nice and easily. You've got a nice wand which is fully telescopic, and you've got the little the adjuster here, so you can pull the wand in and out as to suit. It's a slightly different shape to the traditional style of Miele pipe, and it has a different type of release fitting that you pull to make it go in and out, rather than just a little button which you find on the older machines, like that one over there. Now, the hose comes off at the handle very easily with a click fit fitting here, and it has a little tab inside there, so when you put it together, again, as Miele's always have, it click fits together. So there's no possibility of that pulling apart when you're using it, and it comes apart nice and easy, so it's one press of the button, out it comes. And then what you can do is you can put all your tools on the end of here, or you can put them on the end of the rod. So it's nice and easy to do your dusting. For instance, the dusting brush that comes with this, that's this here. It's the Miele soft dusting brush, and that will fix directly on the end of here, so that you can use this to do your dusting with. And it's pretty convenient. I'd prefer generally to have a when I'm using it with the tools on the end, I prefer not to have this handle. It does tend to make it a little bit more bulky to use. I'd rather have the grip where you hold it here than here. But again, it's just minor niggles, that is, minor things. So that's the dusting brush, and incidentally, this does not store in the machine or on the machine. There's nowhere supplied for that to go. And the reason for that is because most of the lower models in the range do not come with this. They have an integrated dusting brush built onto the handle here, so you just slide the dusting brush down the handle. Okay? It's only the Comfort model that doesn't come with that type of handle, because it has these remote controls on instead, so they have to supply you with a separate dusting brush. So you've got to be careful you don't lose it, because it doesn't store on the machine. It's the only tool that doesn't. Okay, so that's the hose and the handle. As I say, you've got your nice length of stainless steel rod, and again you've got the click fit at the bottom, and you can take your floor head off. The floor head that comes with the machine is the what they call the Ecotech Plus head. The Ecotech Plus, that's this here. Let me just turn that light on behind here. I know it's still the daytime, there's still light coming in, but these houses tend to be very dark inside these terraces. That's why I always seem to have the lights on in here in the day. You have to have lights to do the filming. So yes, it's your Ecotech Plus floor head. You've got this nice, very robust design to this. It's quite a heavy floor head. It's very well made, this is. Despite the fact that it's got a plastic sole plate on, this does seem really well made for a head with a plastic sole plate. You've got your two soft coated roller wheels here. Okay, they don't squeak. And then you've got your litter pickers front and rear of the large aperture. The side suction channels on this are sealed off because it's this is a 1200 watt machine, but I think the newer ones are even lower than that still. They're about 900 watts or possibly 800, but that one there is the 1200 watt version. So again, you can pull your brushes out, and it has brushes front and rear, okay, like the usual head would. But rather than the other type of Ecotech floor head, they only have one lever. The other type has a lever here as well. You'll have to excuse that baby. Next door's got a baby, and it does tend to be very noisy in the afternoon, so you can hear that coming through the wall rather a lot. Unfortunately, you can't tell babies to be quiet. But there you go. She has to listen to all my hoovers all the time and my vacuum cleaners, so there we go. And again, yes, you've got this this flexible hose that goes up here to the neck, so it's nice and flexible. So yeah, that's a reasonably good floor head. But the drawback with this is because it's sealed on both sides, it does tend to really pull itself down onto the carpet. So when you're vacuuming along using this head, you really are finding it can be quite a struggle to move it across the carpet. So you need to have the suction selector in one of the very lowest settings, possibly the second one up from the bottom, in order to be able to push this along the carpet, because it really does draw as much as possible dust from out deep down, so you are getting that really good pull through from the carpet, but in turn it makes it more of an effort to push. And that's one of the things that people have said on reviews that I've read, that this head is very difficult to push unless you turn the power right down, but at least if you do, it will move. So that is one little drawback with it. Now, what it also comes with, this model, is the Miele Parquet Twister. Now, we've discussed this when I first unboxed the machine. This is your dedicated hard floor brush, and it's a very wide floor head. If I compare it, okay, if I compare that side by side to that one, you can see just how wide the Miele XL is. So if you've got acres of hard floor, that brush is going to be really good. I don't use it very often because I tend to use the Dyson with the fluffy head on and my hard floors in the back. I've got used to using that now, but if you were to have this Miele and lots of hard floor, that is the head that you'd need. And it is a very good hard floor brush, is this. It has fully articulated neck on. So that's that one. Those are the only tools it comes with, as I say, the floor heads, but you can buy from Miele additional heads. This is what they call the mini turbo tool. It says the Turbo Mini on. You can buy these from Miele. They're about £30 to £40, I think, or they were the last time I looked. And it has the little rotating brush bar inside. And again, this will fix directly onto the end of the hose. It's a 35mm fitting, this. So that's rather a good little tool to have, the Miele Turbo Mini. And you can also buy, there's a new version of this out now called the Turbo Tech, so I do believe. And the front of that is slightly different because it's got a big round circle on the front with an air vent that you turn from open to closed. This is the older style, which is called the Turbo Comfort, and you have your air bleed valve, which is basically you move that slider across. But the Turbo Tech, the newer version, has a rotary control on the front. That Turbo Tech floor head, the turbo brush, comes with the new Cat and Dog C3 Complete. I've seen it on there now, but that's an expensive machine. Again, it's expensive like this one. But the fact is that this style of floor head will work with that machine at 1200 watts. But I personally, if you've got the 900 watt version, or I think it might be even less than that, but if you've got the current version of this, which is less than 1200 watts, I wouldn't go for this type of turbo brush. I'd go for the TurboTech one instead, which, as I say, has got the big round trim on the front, and you'll tell the difference because it's got a clear see-through plastic part on the front. I think it has, and I think that's capable of working better at machines of lower wattages, because obviously this head was designed for the 2000 watt machines. It will work with this machine, but it doesn't spin as fast as it would have done with the older type there, which is the 2200 watt. I do use this machine with this floor head on quite a lot, and it works pretty well. So that's the floor head you can get. Now, the machine itself, let's just have a look at the label on the bottom first. Come on. I know this. I do really need to get a new camera, but it's all money at the moment, and it's affording it all. Well, basically, that it doesn't look like it wants to focus on it, does it? Come on. This is what you get when you buy cameras that are made in China. Well, basically, it says it's a maximum 1200 watts on there. I really wish this thing would focus. It just doesn't want to, does it? It used to be able to. But anyway, it says it's a 1200 watt machine, and it's made in Germany. It does say that on here. If you can't probably read that on the camera, but this type of stock label doesn't seem to be like the usual type of stock label you'd find on a Miele machine. It's not the standard on there. It makes me think that this machine is actually made for Miele by somebody else. Possibly it might be made by Bosch. I couldn't swear on that, but I just have this feeling that it doesn't look as if it's a Miele made product like that one over there. Now, another difference really between this and the other Miele's, the bagged ones, is that this actually has 4 casters on the bottom, so it's quite stable when you're pulling it along. And these are what you call as well the dynamic drive casters. They're actually on a little bit of suspension underneath here, and they've got really soft inflated pneumatic rubber tyres on there in the top of the range, so it doesn't clatter across hard floors and floorboards where you've got gaps in between. It's a very quiet machine to pull across the floor. It doesn't really show much on carpets because obviously any kind of wheels are going to roll across carpets okay. I think this would be quieter on hard floor, on uneven floorboards. So that's the base. On the top here we've got the hose entry. Is not on the top like it is with your standard Miele over there. It's actually on the front. It does come off by squeezing the lugs in on the side like so, and here's your on-off pedal, and there's your comfort rewind. And what your comfort rewind does, the same as on any other Miele which has it, is when we pull the cable out like that, we have one touch on this and it rewinds the cable in all in one go, like so. So that's a good function. Now, this is the bin in here. I have been using this, as you can see. I've had to empty this a couple of times in the time I've had it. The bin comes off by pulling this lever up and raising it off the top. Like I say, the problem I had with it when I had it as a refurbed, well not a refurbed, an ex-display model, was that this tab here on the open and closing device for the trapdoor had broken off. So all I do is I stick two bits of tape on the side of here to hold this closed. And when I need to empty it, when it's full, I just take these off and put new ones on. It doesn't get full that quickly, to be honest. It's you can see here the amount of dust that it pulls through. I mean, this is the dust that comes from the cylinder. This is what goes into it from the hose and the floor head. So it comes in that pipe there. It comes into the separation chamber on the front here. It spins round in there, and then it goes down that hole here into the bin. So all your larger debris ends up in here, and then the fine dust that goes through that cone in the top will come through that ducting there, and it will enter into this, which is the secondary filter. Now, you can see the amount of fine dust here that's built up on there, is that this filter does handle a fairly large amount of fine dust. We can remove that by pulling it this way and removing it. Now again, I have gone into the ins and outs of this in previous videos, but what this basically is the Hepa filter. It's like a secondary filter. Once it goes through there, it ends up inside here. Now this is a large pleated filter, and I will take it out now. So basically what you've got is this setup. So your dust that comes through from here then is caught. Now some people might think this is a bit of an old-fashioned system, and that's what I thought when I first had it. I mean, this does get dusty, but what happens is it has this mechanism on the top. Now there's a motor inside this machine that will turn this every so often, and when it turns it, it will effectively use little fingers inside here to flick the pleats of the filter, and all the fine dust that's on here will drop off the filter and fall down into the bottom of here. You can't really see down in there very well. I have emptied this before now, but that's what happens. It drops down into the bottom of there, and then you consequently get no dust coming through. This is the airflow from the filter that goes into the motor, and that goes in. You can't really see it, can you? Because it is very black in there, but it goes into that it goes into that entrance on the left hand side there. As long as that's clean, you've got no problems, because that's what goes directly into the motor. Inside the front here, which you can't get to, it's not a user serviceable part, is the Hepa exhaust filter. I did a strip down on this on another video that shows what that filter looks like. So if you want to see that, it's in another video on the channel when this was taken completely to pieces, and you can see exactly what's inside it. But what I find is basically it doesn't tend to lose that much suction. This machine doesn't. What it will do, if it detects that the suction level's dropping off, in other words, if it detects that the filter here is getting clogged, it has a sensor inside this duct and a sensor inside that duct. Now if there's a lot of vacuum backup on this sensor but nothing on this sensor, then it knows that this filter is getting dirty. So it stops the machine, and then it automatically spins these fingers inside, and when it does that, that little comfort clean light there comes on to show what it's doing. It's done that a couple of times, but otherwise it's been pretty good. Now, one thing that I found with it is that this here, this pleat, this filter, this pleat in the filter, started to appear to come apart from the top. It's sort of it looked like this is the join in the filter where it joins together, and it looked like it was starting to separate. So what I had to do was to put staples all the way along like that to staple that pleat back together effectively, because I was worried about this completely coming apart and then the filter wouldn't act like it should do, and it would start letting dust through the motor. Now you can see where that looks like it should have tape all around it as the join in the filter, but obviously that came apart. Now I didn't want to phone Miele up for the price of one of these things, because I would imagine it's going to be 50-60 odd quid. It's going to be a ridiculous price for a new one of these. So basically I just had to do this. Now if you have got one of those, it's worth checking the filter inside there just to see whether that has come apart or is starting to come apart. It may be just mine, I don't know. Maybe somebody damaged it in the shop, who knows. But it was like I say, a model that was ex-display. So that just fits back into here. But as I say, in normal use it doesn't seem to lose that much suction, and I was very, very surprised about that. And that clamps down back onto there, and you can see it does do a good job of picking the dust up, and a lot of the fine dust does end up in here. So I'm going to plug it in. We're going to have a push round with it. I'm not going to do a bag of filth with this because it's got nothing to prove. It does pick up the dust. It's a very good thing. You're going to have to take my word for it on that. Some cleaners I will do the bag of filth with, some of them I don't. And what we're going to do, we're just going to push this one round. But aside from that issue with it, I think it's actually a pretty good machine. So let's switch it on and put on the standard floor head. Like so. I'll plug it in. So what we can see is when you plug it in, the little lights start to pulsate because it's in standby. I always leave that switched on basically, so that's your standby light. That'll show you what it'll switch on in when you next press the on button. So I'm going to press the on button on the handle, like so, and it starts off in minimum. Now what I want to do is put it onto the second setting for doing this carpet, so that's when it lights up. Okay, so as you press in, it's hard to have to show them both at the same time. As you press down, you can see the power go down. If I press up, it's a very quiet machine as well, very quiet. So we're going to leave it on that setting, and we'll use it to clean this carpet with. I'm just going to shorten the rod slightly, it's a little bit long. So yeah, you do have to put your back into it with this. It's a straight suction head on carpet. It's not the best. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change that floor head for the turbo brush, which you can buy as an optional extra, and it's much better on carpet with this. Switch it on to maximum power. Then we can switch it off. And that function I really do like, to be honest. That little control on the handle is very useful to have. And only the Comfort model comes with those handle controls. If you get the lower models in the range, you're going to get a rotary control here on the top that you have to turn. So you have to go back to the machine to switch it on and off and alter the suction. Whereas with this one, you can just do it at the handle. On demand when you need to. Okay? And then you can put it down and then use the dock on the side to just store the machine. Okay? Like so. So it's not the same type of machine basically as your usual Miele bagged. Okay, now we're running out of time here now. I only get 30 minutes. But basically that one there is what people are usually associating Miele's with, bagged. But this one is a very, very much different sort of style, being the bagless. But so far, apart from that issue with the filter, and it works alright with the staples in, okay, but otherwise I'm pretty pleased with it so far, and it doesn't seem to lose that much suction as it gets full. See you again on the next review.